Okay, so here's what essentially the overall schematic that I have so far for this project. And let me, oh, that doesn't work very well. Okay, well anyway, this portion, this would be for the dummy load, and then this portion would be for a temperature sensor. And I'm thinking about having this on a 12-volt system. Not entirely sure yet. But the first thing that I'm wanting to do before I actually start getting into this is do some work with the op amps and the MOSFETs and the transistors that I'm going to be using to get an understanding of how they operate and how things like voltage drop happen across them. So first thing I want to do, and I've thought of a few different versions of this, but the first thing I want to do is I want to get power supply set up, and I have a little linear regulator and a couple of capacitors for it. And let's see here. Don't quite remember which of my capacitors is which. 10400. Okay. So that should be my 0.1. And then this should be my 0.33. So let's go ahead and get those set up on the breadboard. And let's see. I'm going to use a nice long green wire, and my other wires aren't as long. Last time I had a couple of those orange wires hooked up. And let's see. Actually, I think I'm going to connect my power from my power supply a different way. I'm not going to use these wires. Use some of these. I have a power supply over here that I'm going to use to power the whole contraption when it's all done, set up. So, get out some little wires. Okay, so the way that this is going to work is I'm going to have a common ground, but I'm going to have a 12-volt wire regulated, and then I'm going to have unregulated rail. So what I'd like to do, if possible, is just run a wire straight across the board to set up my common ground. And red's not the nicest color to use for a ground. Let's see if I have one in here that's slightly shorter. Fortunately, I don't think so. I think red is the short wire there. Yep. Okay, and then that's obviously not long enough. So I mean, what I could do is I could sacrifice one of the breadboard channels off on the side, and then just kind of jump things around. If I can find one short enough, and that's always a fun part here is finding stuff that's short enough. There we go. It looks like those. Yeah, that'll work. Another little blue one. And let's see. I have it over here. And just a hair too long there. Let's get that put there. There we are. Now I just need to jump that gap. Okay, so what I have there is now all my 2 ground rails on each side. They're all common. So I need to have capacitor from pin 3 here to my output to my so basically my regulated voltage, and then another one here. So Now the question is, which of these do I want to have as my regulated, and which of these do I want to have as my unregulated rail? And well, considering the fact that most of my schematics, I'm using it, you know, this would be my hot, and then I'd have my component, and then this would be my ground. I might as well kind of try and keep that set up, so then this would be my unregulated hot. So I might as well go ahead and put my regulator in about here or so. Yeah. That'll do. And then, let's see here. Point 1 is going from pin 3 to our regulated output. Just stick that right there. Get a small wire here. Stick that into the hot right there. And then this is going from our non-regulated side into the other pin. Put that on there. And then let's see. Now this is tricky. Pin 2 has to connect to the ground, but it also has to connect to both of these other components. And I had this on here, a very nice, you know, neat little setup not too long ago, as you saw in the video earlier. So I'm going to think about how I want to have that set up some more. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, both of these should be on the same side of it. Some manner and some manner. Move this down. Well, actually no. We can move it down or we can move it up. If we move it up, we can get it to match like this more. And then of course, you know, I can always jump something else off of here. So let's see here. That's going to the hot. And then that has to go down here to this capacitor. So I could actually, yeah, I could take this 0.1 capacitor and I could jump it straight between, yeah, this is how I did it. Jump this and this, like so. Well, and try not to bend your leads. Might have done a good job on these leads. Get some pliers to straighten it out. Alright, and then do something similar here with the other one. And let's see, that's also supposed to be going to that little non-regulated voltage input, so put this like so, and then this like so. Alright, and then that has to go down to here. So, I have a wire that's long enough. Well, it's certainly not that one. This should do it. A little bit of a challenge. This one might not be long enough. Seems I can get one side in, but not the other. Yeah, let's see if I got one that's slightly longer. Nope. Okay. So don't have one long enough, so you use a couple. Short one and a long one makes a long one. Go. Or for that matter, just a couple of short ones. Okay, so this should be my regulated voltage line here on the top, and I've kind of drifted down more towards the edge of the table to clear some things off. Okay, so if I have this 12 volt regulator set up properly, this rail should be my regulated hot, and then I have a common ground, and then this rail should be my non-regulated hot. And so what I'm going to need to do is hook up my power supply, and we're going to have to measure this with a voltometer. So handy dandy multimeter right there. And it would be kind of nice to actually have something letting us know if this is turned on or not. Let's see. So we'll put a resistor on here. And the resistor won't tell us if it's turned on, but it will let us power an LED without burning it out. And get a little green wire, get a little black wire. Black wire to my ground. And here I have my wires for my power supply, and I'm going to also have a hot wire for my ground. And actually I can get these right here at the edge. That's better. And don't want to immediately risk burning everything out as soon as I turn it on. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually turn on my power supply and make a couple of setting adjustments. I'm going to set this to output, about a quarter of an amp. Okay, let's see here. There we go, so that's a quarter of an amp. And let's set my voltage. I'm going to underpower this for right now. I'm just going to go ahead and set it at 6 volts. And so yeah, I'll get 6 volts out, but that's, a nice way of making sure I don't totally screw things up as soon as I turn it on. So connect the ground off my power supply, and with my power supply, there's a spike when you turn it on. And the power supply I'm using, it's DC power supply PS305D. It can go up to 5 amps, 30 volts. People have done reviews on this, and they've noticed that, yeah, when you turn it on, if you have it hooked up to an oscilloscope, you're going to end up seeing the line on your oscilloscope make a nice ping, a nice big vertical jump right there. And if you read the user's manual for the power supply, it actually tells you what you're supposed to do is turn it on and then connect your load. So yeah, that's something that is documented. So yeah, turn it on. You have your spike on your power supply. Now I connect my load. And let's see here. Firstly, yeah, my LED is on. A little hard to see with the bright light. Here we go. So yeah, LED is on right there. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my multimeter, set it to the 20 volt range, and I have no clue if that is visible or not. So Alright, and what I'm going to do is now get a measurement of the current coming off the voltage regulator, and yeah, right now it's at 4.35 volts. And in order to actually get a steady 12 volts off of this thing, I have to turn it up to about 13 volts or so. Let me try and move the wires out of the way, and you should be able to see, as I'm turning the power supply up, the LED getting brighter, and then I should be able to see it peak about, 12 volts there, a nice steady 12 volts. So let's see here. Yeah, a little too high there. Oh, well, my probes is moving. And yeah, I do need to get some better probes for my multimeter. It'd be nice to have something I could clamp actually onto the board. So yeah, that right there, that's 8 volts. Yeah, we can see the LED getting nice and bright. I'm going to go ahead and take this up to about 13.5. And not getting my full nice 12 volts off my power supply. Let's turn it up a little more. There we go, they're going up to 15 volts. Okay. So, for some nice reason, my power regulator is going up way above 12 volts. And it's supposed to be able to take 30, so I don't like that. Let me stop this. If I get something hot, does not look like it. Okay, think about why. That's always an important question. Well, I believe I can just go ahead and take this capacitor and move it back here so it's out of the way a little more. And that could actually be having something to do with it. Okay. So, try that again. Right now my power supply is at a nice, it's a bit high. So, turn it down a little bit, 13. Turned it on, it went up to 15 volts. Okay. Nice bright LED. Connect my ground probe to my ground. And let's see what we're getting out here. Okay, still the same thing. So I might just need to be measuring it on the pin. No. Now if I was in there backwards, it wouldn't be working at all. Might just have the I might just have the regulator in there backwards. I'm up to 20 volts now. The regulator's gone all the way up to 17, so yeah, that's not nice. Just gonna try flipping it around. See if that gives me a better result. Either we'll break it or it'll work. Okay. And as we can see, the LED is still lighting up, even though I took that regulator out of there and just flip it around backwards. Okay, so now I'm bringing my power supply up to 12 volts. A little past that, hit 13. Yeah, still the same thing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and figure out what's going on with this and see about getting it taken care of. Let's turn off the camera for a while.